Hey, this is Troy Erickson from emaillistmanagement.com. And today I'm talking to one of my students who has stayed quiet for a while, but I've just told him like his wins are really unique and really impressive and he needs to share them more. So I'm inviting him onto this video so he can share them more with everybody. So Patrick Chan, welcome.
Thank you, Troy. What's up, everyone?
Yeah, so thanks for hopping on, man. So first of all, I think you've been a student of mine for, gosh, since the email secrets days, so probably over a couple of years. But quick question for you, like how did you get into the whole copywriting and internet marketing space?
Yeah, for sure, man. So my background started off in game development and in web development and all that. And originally, I want to go and make video games for the big game companies like Ubisoft, EA, all those big ones there that most of us know of. Until one summer when I did I would say it's an internship. It's more like an incubator program where we make experimental games. So I spent a summer doing that. And then I spoke to a lot of professionals, cool people, great talent, but I was never a fan of the whole corporate talent sucking vampires that I've been hearing about, in a way where at the time they would overwork a lot of their employees just for a contract position where a game could be in production and then it could completely be shut off. And then everyone is back in the same talent pool, almost like a lottery where they hope they can get like a job or if they know someone. And it's just a really small community of people where they always have to be careful of what they say because otherwise it could really cost their job. So I wasn't a fan of it. And at the time I was still in school. And when I took a marketing course as an elective, it really intrigued me to discover more of it. And so I did a little bit of like digging myself on things like, like persuasive writing and sales and all. And that eventually morphed into copywriting because I also like to write at the time. Like I did a lot of creative writing, poetry and all that. So one thing led to another. I ended up taking John Carlton's course on copywriting, even got a coach. Then from there, I got a couple of small gigs here and there until I got into my specialty, which is, email marketing, list management, and client retention.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That's a pretty detailed response there. And funny note about John Carlton, while I'm thinking about it, I just emailed him. I've been cold emailing some A-listers to try and interview them. He's on like a year-long sabbatical right now. So it's cool that you got that you got in before he left.
Yeah.
Anyway, to go over some of your wins, man, I think a lot of these are really impressive. So some of them are very specific and some of them are like curiosity based. So I can tell you're a good copywriter, but I'll just go over the first couple. You said you turned an email list into a client retention machine and recovered hidden profit opportunities from inactive subscribers. So can you talk a little bit more about like what you're doing in those two cases?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of these cases, actually, they're related to one client because I always like working with like one first, make sure I give them a solid win before I slowly move on to the next one. So a lot of the points Troy's going to be mentioning, yeah, it's for one client. Now, when I first got on board with this list, I noticed that the previous person, she already had a plan in mind. So it was just a matter of me understanding her whole vision, where she was going to go with it. Brilliant marketer. Her name is Aliana. If you ever see this, Aliana, shout out to you. Freaking awesome. Anyways, point is, so Aliana told me her vision on where she wants to build the company and how she wants them to, just make a profit with their email without sounding like a bunch of robotic promo companies. Like the stuff you see where it's like, oh, buy now only, like they'll only email to you if they have a promo and all. So she had a bit of a roadmap and it was my turn to just execute it. And so one of the first things that I noticed was that every company, they have a culture. By culture, as in, when you join a company, like you get your first job, they always tell you like what the company cares about and all that. So a lot of it, I realized, actually reflected on why people buy from the company itself as well. So one of the ways that I started building this whole retention idea was, well, first, see what people actually like, and then from there, incorporate the company's values with it, and from there, create content related to that. Whether it's a soft sell or hard sell, it really depends. That company slash client at the time, like there were just a lot of email related to just sales stuff, but I remember Aliana, she was laying out the foundation on like the whole content block, and I just went really hard on it. And from there, it just ended up becoming like a whole like snowball effect, which it will go down further as more questions come down the line.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So that's kind of what I want to get into. So the next thing you put here, this one's got me really curious. Leverage CRM data to strategically get over 10,000 free email opt-ins. That sounds good to me. It probably sounds good to a lot of people. So how did you do that?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, a CRM is basically a tool where you look around in your email or like just your marketing pipeline and see where the sales are coming in, whether it's from Google Ads, SEO, email, just like a way of identifying your sales. And I noticed that, obviously SEO traffic and all it's related. And my client, they have a product that involves samples. So 100% free. Like there's no like like you only pay for shipping type of stuff. No, like it's completely free. You sign up in exchange for an email and you get it like that. So we were looking into the data and we noticed that that deal alone was being shared through a bunch of sites where it's known for getting free things. And then at the time, because the timing happened to be right, it was just around the Super Bowl, and I thought, you know what, like we should do something with this. I would say like this little like situation right here, right? Obviously, people want free stuff. Maybe it could turn into an opportunity with our list as well. And one thing led to another, and we ended up sending to our own list a campaign where at the times, I think I forgot which football teams were playing, but we had our list pick a side on who's going to win. And from there, we knew right away, like people within the list, they're going to share the message one way or another. And at the end, when we ended up getting the final result on who won in the Super Bowl, the losers, we were like, okay, we're going to give you these free products that at the time, like they're great products, but it's just that there's very little exposure. So we just had to give all of those people like just a free whole product. If essentially that promo got leaked and so many people signed up for it, whether they were actually on the email list or not, it just freaking exploded. And from there, obviously, like we had to tell them, hey, like this was intentionally for people on our list. It's not meant to be shared public, but we ended up giving people like a special coupon just to opt them in to give us a try. And at first, we got complaints of people like, oh my gosh, they're just scamming us and all. It's like, no, we didn't even post it like publicly. But obviously at the time, I also had my content retention strategy coming through. So I would tailor my content related to these new opt-ins. And I believe within that 10K of new emails, I've managed to keep around like 3,000, 4,000. And they were all at least first, if not second time buyers afterwards.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool, man. A couple of things with that. So first of all, just being able to have a funnel where it's not free plus shipping, it's just literally free. And then there's no shipping charge. That's pretty cool. And a lot of people are not willing to do that, but hey, that's a pretty good offer. I'm not going to lie.
It's expensive for sure. Luckily it's an e-com business. We sold edibles. So the offer itself is really hot. So yeah, like you said, it's just a lot of people don't want to do it because they're like, oh, it's a lot of money lost. But at least with our product at the time, with the people who want to opt in for it, we knew we were going to get a return that was going to pay off on its own. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and then it's interesting too because you're familiar with my own sub-secret, of course, but that's basically where on the page that people see that confirms they're unsubscribed. So they unsubscribe from an email, they see this page, and on there you can put like, hey, before you go, would you like a discount on this product? Well, one of my
Mhm.
clients, they noticed a ton of sales coming in from that discount code, and they're like, wait a minute, somebody shared this on a different site. They shared our coupon code. We have to take that off. And I was like, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
Like that just made you a ton of sales and they got like 10% off. Why are you mad about that? And then they were
yeah,
like,
why?
actually, you're right. Let's keep it on there. So they made like, I can't remember what the amount was, but it was like multiple 5 figures of like free money over the course of a few
Goodness.
months, literally just because somebody shared it on a coupon site. So I think that it's actually not a bad strategy to go on coupon sites and like put your own coupon. It's like, there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that, but it can really do well. So thank you for sharing that. That's really unique.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. What else? These are like really funny too. Sold over 20 mattresses without a retail demo space using 2 emails. And these mattresses are valued between 1,500 and 2K. So can you elaborate a little bit more on how you're selling mattresses without people testing them?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. This is for a different client now. During the like, they start off selling weighted blankets, and one of the products that they launched, like I think like within like 3 months before I joined, was a mattress. And so, mattress, boring stuff. We can just get a like old one, or literally just sleep on the ground. Like, why? How would you sell something like this? And I got a lot of inspiration first, understanding how salespeople in the retail stores do it. And the retail stores, how they do is usually they talk to you, they try to befriend you and all, and then have you actually lie down on the mattress. And usually the moment they know that you say along the lines of like, oof, this feels nice, like they got you, right? So how do I get this ooh, feels nice type of effect? Well, a number of things. One, understanding the product's uniqueness, in a sense that how is it similar to what is currently in the market, but say, oh, but it's better, right? Because all of these things, like it's one of those products where there's nothing unique about it. So um, I can't name this company because I signed an NDA, but long story short, I looked at their competitor brands and whatnot, and I even leveraged the content that I had. But most importantly, in the email, a lot of gifts, like the useful gifts, like don't spam it with gifts, obviously, but had gifts that demonstrate the product's uniqueness, and also have really um, trigger, I would say like emotional, like emotionally like curiosity, triggering words, like the benefits of the sleep, like highlighting, for instance, like the material, and also overall like the gifts where it's compressed in a way like you see the actual action without like showing a full video on how effective it is. That was overall the way I went about it. And I even tested it different way where it's like, like a full on like longer email, like with more specific details, versus one where it's just like price focus. Because, you have people just buy based on price versus those who need more detail. So a combination of those two just racked up the money.
Yeah, that's a cool win right there. That's like demonstration is always key. And that's why sometimes I'll go out on the street and kind of show people how they can make money by typing emails, because there's nothing more powerful than that. And there's a lot of arguments in the comments too, and it drives engagement and all these funny things that
Yeah.
people sometimes don't even think about. But it's like even with a mattress, you can still do that, and just showing people the emotional side and the feelings, and instead of like, oh, we have a sale today. But there are some people who do buy on that, so it's always important to test. So good work on that.
Yeah.
Couple more wins here. Built a proven content calendar for a client. A profit proven content calendar for a client, which is still being used after you left, which is a long time. It's really cool when you know, maybe you don't work with a client anymore and they're still using your work because it's so good. But can you explain a little bit about a profit proven content calendar? Because most of the time when people talk about this stuff, it's like, oh, on Monday, do a testimonial, and on Tuesday, tell a story. But it's not really like, you know, there's nothing that's too unique about it. But it sounds like yours is at least somewhat unique.
Yeah, so this applies for the situation where we mentioned earlier, the one that got the free 10K email opt-ins. So at the time when I was working with Aliana, the previous person, she already had the idea of like her philosophy on retention, which just to circle back is like, you know, relating more to your audience and like building a culture behind your brand or like the company's brand. And so like we've seen, you know, like you just mentioned, some people are like, oh, these specific days, like send this type of email, whatnot, which for sure it works. I don't doubt it. But to me, it looked too much like a gym schedule. And you know, with gym schedules, we tend to skip if we know like for this day, it's gonna be a specific content. Why would we open it at all? So what I ended up doing was, well, focusing on the actual, for instance, events in real life that is relatable to the audience that we're selling to, that it are not national holidays, right? So for example, what do I mean by that? For instance, if let's say in social media, you see like people trending on things like, oh, it's like national, like, you know, like pizza day, something like that, okay? And we kind of see it coming beforehand. We would say, we would make an email dedicated just for that. And something cool about, you know, like those random social media related holidays is that, you know, they just happen randomly. It's not always on a set day. You can literally just make anything up. So we were doing that a lot. Some of it was military related because our audience, they were really pro-military, like veterans support and all that. And so that was one of the unique things. Oops, sorry. That was one of the unique things about the company is that everything that's sold goes back to giving towards veterans and anyone who were once, you know, in the army. And so we also explored things like, let's say, the military calendar, like what is it important for like people in the army, just specifically days related to them. So I would also make a calendar related to that as well, because we know among our buyers as well, a lot of them also were vets. So being able to relate with really important people that your audience can support and build like little content or like holidays around it, it's like, it works. And then there's other stuff too, you know, like just fun things. I find a lot of emails, people get too serious about it. Sometimes you just gotta make something that's funny and like or like just stimulates other kinds of desires. Like for instance, like because we're selling edibles, I'm like, okay, well, what if we make like a recipe email for tinctures, you know? How do we incorporate it? How do we make this like fun and all that? So just little ideas here and there like that just goes from like predictable to unpredictable, and it just works wonders.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that. That is just a lot of like genuine and like real world insight right there that most people aren't doing. Because at the end of the day, it's all about being different than other people. And National Pizza Day, for whatever reason, on social media, people go crazy for it. But if you're like, hey, it's Thanksgiving, here's a sale. Like, yeah, there's going to be people who are hyped because it's Black Friday, but it's just, there's so many other people doing it. You're going to get lost. Or it's like, hey, we have an Easter sale. Like, it's just not that exciting.
Yeah.
So being able to do it on these weird trends, and by the way, you can just like Google weird holidays and have
Yeah.
endless amounts of holidays. But anyway, man, that's awesome. So the last one, you mentioned you made over $5 million a year in email profit for a client. That is amazing. And all these other wins are incredible too. And there's so many ideas here, whether somebody's listening who's a copywriter themselves or they're a business owner. So if they want your help with this, if they have any questions for you, how should they contact you?
Yeah, for sure. They can definitely contact me through your page. I left my email there, or they can just contact me at you can't see it right now, but you can contact me with pakler@gmail.com.
Okay, I will link your copywriting.org interview in the description,
Mhm.
so people can check that out. So that's where it will be.
Yeah,
Once
just don't
again,
send me spam email, please. I'm not gonna respond, even if you're like a Nigerian prince or like, you know, like a spy from Russia, like who needs
I
to
think we'll
hide
be good. Don't
stuff,
worry.
you know.
But yeah, Patrick, thanks for coming on here, man. I appreciate it. And really good stuff. And for everybody listening, this is Troy from copywriting.org, and thanks for listening.